When we speak of just war theory, primarily it is seen as a Catholic theory, or at least a Christian theory. That's true on one level, in the sense that in many nations they will not speak of just war. Yet we will find that many nations, many religions, many cultures have a theory of war that coincides with principles of Catholic just war theory. So even if they don't speak of just war formally, that does not mean that there's not agreement between Catholic just war theory and other theories, secular, Christian, of whatever religion. When we speak of other cultures, we can find traditions of just war, or of a war theory that respects natural law and human dignity throughout history, back to the ancient Egyptians even. We have they have found different documents in Egyptian tombs that speak of a king, a ruler, being able to conquer other people justly. And you see within this that the principles of natural law come in, that there's a respect for, that it's not unrestrained warfare in many of these ancient documents. We also have, of course, Aristotle and many of the philosophers who speak of a just war in a sense. Again, not using the formal term, but speaking of principles. We see this also in Hinduism, in Islam, in Sikhism, that in many of these different religions, they will speak of the right of worship, the dignity of the human being, which therefore allows them to enter into war to defend their people. Again, a principle of natural law, to defend the people, to defend their society as they try to seek peace. Many of them, even in the Hindus, they will speak of a just cause, that war cannot be declared for any reason, that there must be a just cause. Others will also speak of this proportionality. So they'll use some of the principles that we explicitly list in just war theory, but speak of it in their own terms. There's also the issues regarding prisoners or the means that are used. So all of these principles we can find in other religions. Why? Because Catholic just war theory does not directly mention God. God is at the foundation, and we follow divine law, the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. But the theory itself, when we speak of ad bellum, in bello, post bellum, we don't have to mention God formally. He is behind it for our Catholic theory because God is at the source of our creation and God is our end. But we can have this dialogue with people of all nations, of all cultures, of all religions. We can also see this in international theory. If we look at the United Nations, if we look at NATO, there are principles regarding what is a just cause for a war. In the United Nations, we have a charter that basically speaks of a war of defense, or a war that has been agreed upon by the Security Council. That these are basically your foundation for a just war, and anything else may end up in international law, where we also see war crimes addressed. So here again you see in bello that international law will address war crimes of a war that has been whether a war of aggression or even a just war, that war crimes perhaps were committed. We could look at this in the question of the Vietnam War. If someone would argue that it was a just war, we know that there were many war crimes committed within that war. And these are addressed, and there are laws, even the Geneva Convention, which address how that war was justified, whether it was fought in a just manner, whether prisoners were treated justly, and whether there was even a just outcome.